Hi. I am kind of excited about this one, kind of not. I am going to I'm going to be talking about myself for way longer than I want to, but I'm outlining my career history, 10 years in the beauty industry and everything that I've learned there, but as well as my spiritual awakening, which goes hand in hand with my career now. I did just recently leave a job doing facials in a crystal shop, and that was a huge, confirmation, a blessing. And I left for reasons, and so it kind of brings us up to a very current point in time where I just contacted them again, and I'm still, by sharing this, I'm not trying to say that I've got things figured out by any means, but I am going to start, I'm trying to change. I love change. I would love to help more people, and it's different in real life. This is such a good opportunity. I'm so excited. I don't know. Let me talk about the live stream whenever I get around to that. But I've got some notes because it does go back 10 years. I would really like to try and keep this somewhat entertaining, but oh yeah, I forgot I was going to pull up a picture. Okay, that'll be the first funny thing I got for you. So yeah, honestly, I'm kind of like, is it crazy that this is going to be so long? It's kind of ridiculous because it was a lot of hard work. Looking back now, I'm proud and it makes sense, everything that happened. But at the time, and even up until very recently, it was not the case. And I accidentally took a picture of myself a few days ago. Like, I'm feeling good now and I want to feel better, and I want to share the techniques that I've learned in the last few years of submerging myself in spirituality after having taken a very long break. And this is tricky because they go hand in hand. I did things where I got industry experience, beauty industry experience, and then I would leave because I was not being fulfilled. And sorry if I kind of zip around a little bit. I feel a lot of things. I cannot believe I'm going to show this picture, but this was probably a couple years into the mania that is spirituality in the beginning. Okay. You can just rewind it and pause it, and then let me just back it up with a picture I accidentally took yesterday. I feel better, and it's not to say that there's a good and a bad, and I'll try and keep I want to build my perspective a little better. I am not here to teach anything, but wisdom speaks, I guess, and I don't know. So in 2010, oh God, why am I doing this? Sharing my past history, because I think it's important to know who you're working with spiritually. And I say that because I've seen terrible examples, and I was going to say I'm genuine, but I'm not anything. I'm not a label. I want to always have a healthy, distant perspective. I very much so practice non-attachment, and probably in an unhealthy way. That's the Six of Swords, but not really, because I am on this mission, and that's been a reoccurring, this weird sense that I have throughout my life. So, for instance, I graduated high school accidentally a year early. And this is what I'm saying. I'm going all the way back. I'm going to try and do this very quickly. But these two things are very prevalent in my current life still. Beauty industry profession, the need to make money in order to survive, or following your heart and knowing that you are capable and of so much more. And there's a lot to be said. And I hope that me sharing this I hope it makes more sense as I'm talking through some of these things, because this is my perspective. These are the things that people don't realize about me. There are a lot of people who I think have common misconceptions about me, and that's fine, but I've been very hardworking, and I want to get these thoughts about myself behind me, because as I'm moving forward into live sessions, it is, I don't know, it's a different perspective. I want to reflect through other people, because we're all reflections of each other. So yeah, I did. I graduated accidentally a year early. I started taking night school classes because, well, summer school was my first set of classes, and then I ended up with enough credits to at the end of my junior year, they told me I could, oh my god, this is so weird. I'm gonna try and make this digestible. Okay, hold on. Card. Ooh, the Hierophant. This deck is my very favorite of them all. This is the first one I ever got at, I guess it doesn't matter, but I'm in Houston, and it's a popular shop. Listen, I listen to people talk in this way, and I find it interesting and entertaining, especially the elements that I intend to add later on for more feedback. Definitely open to other people coming on and live streaming, because you can't edit. I love unedited footage, because babies are gonna cry, dogs are gonna bark, life goes on, and I really want to stop looking at that number, because I'm like, I cannot believe I'm about to talk about myself in this to this depth, and it is going to get deep. So if you're not prepared, save me for later. You know, I want my perspective to be heard, and that is why I am speaking my truth, my voice, using my voice. It's not even my truth that I'm speaking. Well, is it? I don't know, but it's my experience in the beauty industry, and I can just give you a quick little like synopsis. So I've got industry job, brain tumor. Oh god, my notes, I should have done my notes like this because it makes it easier. Same time. And then went back home, my favorite job ever, ice skating rink. And then industry job again, and then fun job after school, like childcare. And so that's the theme throughout my entire like working, my licensed career, is being forced to go back to work to make enough money. And this is a tricky concept that I don't fully have perspective on, as far as like people who can't get out of their situations, or think that they like truly think that they can't. I don't know how. So in a way, I feel privileged, but everybody has their privilege in some kind of way. Everybody has something. I don't know. God, these are the things I want to not say. So I didn't know what to do when I got out of school a year early. So naturally it was, okay, well, what do I want to do with my life? I want to travel, which is still very much all I've got to say, is that I need to see the world. I need to experience culture, and nothing matters to me more. So that's why I'm on this fast track to what? I don't know. But temperance, like just trying to balance this out right now. I had a childhood friend in, like, right before high school. She moved away to Colorado, so she introduced me to Colorado, and I had the opportunity to move out there. And wait, I kind of skipped ahead, because I cosmetology school. There it is. Never really meant much more to me than just being a stepping stone to get out and to see the world. So I had my application ready for license transfer as soon as I got licensed in Texas. It was a 1,500-hour course, and I do want to talk about this because this is a big part of a reoccurring problem within the industry. Sorry about it. I refuse to get a haircut because Bubble, stop. You're not even barking in the right direction. Should I save this part for later? Because people don't care. It's all about, like, their time is money. And I can't even tell you how many times I've heard people say this, who are training me. It's like, fake it till you make it, time is money. They want to fit in as many people. They want to make as much money as they can. And it takes the passion out of it. It takes their ability to spend time with you and listen to what you want. And honestly, I have a very stupid hair texture that needs extra attention, and it doesn't get it. It does not get it. Nobody gets it, and I'm boycotting. But also, as I've tried different professionals, I can't even tell you how many times I've been not even just disappointed, but like the owners of places, master stylists. It is gut-wrenching every time I get such terrible customer service, but I fully get that that's just a part of my experience. Not everybody is going to have that experience or this perspective, and that is what makes my experience unique. In that way, I try to be respectful. I recognize not everybody's like this, but it's a problem, and I see it in the definitely still prevalent in the beauty industry. And this is a tangent of its own, but as far as like the jobs that I've had, everybody just, it's all about quantity over quality, and this is the biggest problem of all. So, I cannot read my notes at all. Oh, back to that master procrastinator thing, or did I even say that? So, cosmetology school is done in hours, so 1,500 hours are required in Texas, or they were at the time. I don't know what they are anymore. I think they still are. But on the very last day, I'm proud of this, on the very last day of my very last day, before summer or whenever. Oh, and that's one thing. I started cosmetology the summer after I graduated a year early. So like I didn't stop. I graduated a year early, and then I jumped in to the summer course and finished my license as quickly as I could. And then on my very last day, and this is that self-cherishing thing. I don't want to make it sound like, I've romanticized my own story. I've made peace with it. Right? Is that okay? Am I allowed to do that? I clocked in at, I clocked out at 1,500 hours on the very last day, and that is given, I'm like all excited about it, because it was, I skipped a lot of school. You're allowed to like miss a certain amount. I don't know how I pulled that one out, and I don't know how I graduated early, because I literally probably should have been in a couple more classes. Anyway, had that license ready to go, and then I decided to move to Colorado. And right when I was moving, I was having a final checkup, an overall checkup before I made the move, about like the week of. It was just a general appointment, and I went in with a reoccurring problem that I had brought up before. And that is a hormonal issue. I was, this is so personal. I was like producing like fluid, and my I don't think that I was ever told that that was normal, but my first symptom was irregular periods. And I had a young lady doctor who I insisted on having. And when I was like 16, I had her since she was like my first doctor. And the other doctor in the practice was like this older man who I was not super eager to go to, but whenever I went to this general appointment, I was told she had left and that I was seeing the other doctor. And I'm glad that I did, because he was able to say, no, that's not normal. We need to check for this and this. And I don't know if I knew if I had the prolactin thing happening at the time. So that's the hormone that is secreted, is prolactin, and it's mainly produced in lactating like mothers, pregnant women. So yeah, he was like, if your prolactin levels are elevated, it could be the sign of a brain tumor on your pituitary gland. And at the time, I'm just like, okay, like, we'll see, whatever. And I don't know, the blood work came in pretty soon, and I'm pretty sure it was an immediate, like, okay, let's get you in for an MRI. And so that's what I did. Or maybe it's 10 years ago. It's hard for me to remember specifically, but it was all happening so fast. All I knew is I was still moving. I had a roommate lined up, and I was committed, and I was told medicine would take care of it, shrink it, dry it up, and it was like a teeny tiny, smallest little pill, like twice a week, I think, and I moved. I was in heaven. Who wouldn't be in Colorado? So I move out there and get my first spa job, which was in a full service salon called the Parlour. And I was living in Fort Collins, where CSU is. And let's see. So the job I had was assisting. I mean, this salon was so perfect. I felt like 10 of Pentacles. Boom. I was working with some of the most femme fatale, like, creative, and I could describe what they were to you, but that's just my perspective of what is cool. But yeah, no, they had me going to Denver, I think 3 times a week for, I can't remember actually how often it was, but it was an intensive training, and it was like a big group of people, and it was such a good experience. I was doing like shampooing, mixing color, and I was like in this one location, and there were several other locations around Colorado. Let's see. So keep in mind, I'm freshly diagnosed, and I think that depression might have been something that accompanied, but honestly, I wasn't ready to not admit defeat, but I didn't think it was defeat. I knew something else was going on, because within the same week, day, couple weeks, whatever that time frame was, getting diagnosed, getting that checkup appointment right before I moved, I had the spiritual awakening. Like, I'll never really forget, and I don't think my parents will either, because they were downstairs and I wanted to talk to them about it. And that's been one unique thing about my experience, is that even though I knew and always know that they're going to think I'm crazy, I come in with that perspective. I'm like, okay, you're going to think I'm crazy. And sure enough, they, because I say that, they don't react in a negative way. It's just like, we don't understand. You're right. We don't understand. It's like, okay, I'm just going to sit here and wait for all of this to make sense, I guess, 10 years later. But I was in my bedroom, and I remember something fell, and I felt energy zip across, and I had my pets in my room at the time, and the door was closed, and it scared the hell out of them. But then I felt and like energy go back to my closet. And in the corner of my room, I had a mirror, like a long floor length mirror that I could catch the reflection of the light in, and there was this weird vortex of energy, and in the corner of the room, this light, and what I 100% identified as Jesus, which is awesome because that is the reason why I've never denied, and I'm still moving in that direction, honestly. But it was just so innately, deeply within me because I didn't grow up with, I was baptized growing up, and that's a story for a different time. But, yeah, no, it was Jesus Christ. And I was like I was comforted with this light, and then it faded, and something else happened where I felt, it scared the shit out of my pets, and they had freaked out before, and then I was just kind of like observing, things were good and cool, and then they wanted out of the room, and at the same time I felt this like heavy, there's this contrast, light and dark. And so, yeah, so fast forward, I'm very much spiritually aware at this time that I'm working in the crystal shop, or what am I saying? The Parlour, the full service salon. And things were great and cool. And I actually worked there through, like, I don't remember how long I was there. I really don't. I don't know if I would really have to dig kind of deep to figure out specifically. In some of these notes and stuff, I do have specific times. I've got to keep this video under an hour, but it's like, if you're interested, you're interested. If you're not, you're not. I think it's interesting. So, I mean, would you prefer a PowerPoint with pictures? I already showed you pictures. Jesus, I cannot believe I shared you that picture. That's not what I looked like just yet. At this time, I did cut my hair shorter. I was working in the salon. No, so just one exciting part of working in that salon. So I remember they were very big about their training culture. And we did this cute little thing where we like wrote something, tied it to a balloon, let it go. Most of them just like, which now I also is like littering. But they did this thing, like we had to introduce ourselves, I think. And there was a situation where they voted somebody, and I got voted. I was like the elected, like people, no, everybody like spoke about them, like introduced themselves, and then would write notes that they wanted to share, like anonymously. And I got so many nice notes, and I think it was like awarded or something. I felt on top of the world. I knew I was where I was supposed to be, right? So, I go through a breakup because I did sort of move out there in a relationship, and it didn't last long at all. We are both fairly spiritual, I believe, and he was definitely going through his thing in a different way than I was, and he had moved out there for school. So we had been together for like 3 years maybe. And when we got out there, it was just like he was independent, and really my independence dug in. It occurred, but dug in a little bit deeper. And the girl who I was living with was actually a girl that he had met, and I was just like, all right, we're not working out. You can move in here if you want to. And I found somewhere else to go. So I made a friend named Kaylee. Oh, okay, now I can chill. I'm talking about good times. So I let me chew real quick, I'm sorry. I love my experiences, honestly. Like, I've always kind of romanticized the idea of writing about some of these, but I don't know, it's also kind of traumatizing. And this is where my spirituality, something really started to shift. Wait, when I was living in the house that I let my ex move into, it was like, downstairs there was this college professor, and then this girl who mainly just a stoner artist type. I felt pretty attacked in that situation, but you know what? No, I shouldn't have said that. Things were not okay at that time though. And I really made myself, well, not proud, but I was just so on a different path that it was just like, this is not gonna work out. They had like a Friendsgiving, and I didn't ask. It was just like, well, what are you gonna bring? And I'm like, oh, I would like to try and make a homemade pumpkin pie. And then I got like a ton of grief, like, okay, well, you know, so-and-so was gonna try and make that, so, you know, the responsibility's up to you now. And just like putting this pressure on me. And then I remember her calling because I'm like late. She was like guilted me about being just stupid, like unnecessary, probably normal people stuff that I just do not have the time for. So she no, not she, let's see, I don't know, I moved across town. And that's, oh wait, what I did want to go back to, it was a whole thing of its own, I know it is, but while I was living there, that is very much, so, okay, some of the spiritual things that were going on with me then were definitely the recognition of the Mayan calendar ending. That was a big thing, but also before I moved to Colorado, I had never seen chakras. So that was whenever, I remember the first time I ever saw like a person like the chakra system. I was sitting at a pool, and it was in like on a tapestry hanging in an apartment. And yeah, her friends, she had moved there with a group of guys from Pennsylvania, I think, and that was, I really liked them. They were in a band, and I felt really magnetically drawn to one of them. And I also had a spiritual book called Be Here Now by Ram Dass. I had it sitting on my table. I was borrowing it from her because they were all spiritual. And so, you know, he comes in and he doesn't come in, but I have some weights and I had like a long mirror in that bedroom, and he's like, you know, my door was open. I was trying to be friendly. I mean, I tried. So I remember this guy stood in my doorway and was like looking at himself in the mirror and like kind of was like, oh, that, whatever. He acknowledged the book, and there was just this familiarity, and this was before I knew what YouTube was or anything. And then I googled some basic keywords and in Google, and I found what twin flames were. And I'm apprehensive of this because labels. I don't like labels. But there was something I figured out about myself around that time, because I dug a little deeper later on, and the telepathy did come, actually, but that wasn't until I moved houses. So I wish I had a better timeline, but I'm living in this other house now. I move in with Kaylee in an apartment, and there's several other roommates. There's a couple, and this one guy whose sister was the one who was the main one who signed the lease, and I feel bad for the way that I left the house, even though I went like the right way. I got verified by the company or whatever, but I moved into this house and I painted it like, I painted the ceiling dark blue and black, and then I got like soggy paper towels and got paint, like acrylic paint, and watered it down, and got these paper towels, and got them all soggy, and like pushed them up on the ceiling and made like legit galaxy. I had glitter and rhinestones, and I only have one little tiny like corner clip of that, but it was It was actually on the heater above me, so I painted my walls like deep garnet red, and this was my first time even in a basement, and so I have like romanticized my basement and everything that happened there. You know, even though it was borderline traumatizing, things were definitely going on. I got fired from that job because they were worried about me in a way. And embarrassingly enough, I found out later on when my mom had come to visit, she set up a interview with the owner and expressed concerns or something. I don't know. I wasn't ready to come home, and honestly, I didn't have to go home at that time. I ended up staying for a few more months after that because I had so many roommates. I had very low rent, and yeah, I tried to find something else while I was up there, and the spirituality just really, the telepathy really increased, and then something else started going on that I still don't fully feel comfortable talking about, just in my head. Dreams of some kind, vision, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. So I am still trying to figure these things out, but a lot of it was self-awareness. And back to the twin flame thing, there was a intense like telepathy, and yes, it was probably some kind of mania, but it was energetic. I was sensing it outside of myself, which is probably wrong, you know? Like, everything is a reflection of what's going on within. And years later, after I had already moved back to Houston, I actually had the opportunity, I'm going to name drop right here because this is funny to me. So, like I said, they were in a band, and they were friends with a pretty popular artist right now named Modson. And Modson was playing at the House of Blues, one of the smaller rooms, and he had like a meet and greet line after the show. And I waited. I was the very last one in line and told him to tell his friend that I said hi. And I never heard anything, and that's fine. But okay, I shot my shot. And yeah, now he's like huge and popular now, and he is super close friends with like the first twin flame couple to come out. I think that's kind of cool. But I don't even think he heard me. Whenever I said, I don't think he heard what I was saying. I'm like, hey, your friend so-and-so of so-and-so. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, cool. Let's see, have I forgotten anything? I did not get brought home until a strong energetic experience happened, and I thought I had a brain aneurysm. And because there was like a click, something shifted, and like I said, I've shared with my family a lot, so I call because I didn't want to be alone. And I think I called my cousin, and then maybe my cousin told my mom, and then my mom and dad call, and it's like, all right, we're bringing you home. I'm like, what? No. And then my mom had a flight that she moved up. She had already had tickets. She's like, okay, let me see if I can change them. She found a flight the next day, and I got brought home. Then I'm in Houston, and I'm like, okay, well, you know what? Like, oh wait, another part of that last chapter, working in the hair salon. Another big blessing that has happened to me. A customer paid, like, okay, so the best tip I've ever gotten, plane tickets. She bought me a round trip holiday season tickets. She asked my manager, the owner of the salon, if I could have time off to go see my family. And she bought me plane tickets, probably because she felt sorry for me. I don't know. I was fine. Freshly broken up with, right off the medical bandwagon. I don't know. I didn't look like that picture I can show you pictures of what I look like one day, maybe. It wasn't, I never completely lost it. But I do go things alone, so, I loved working at the job that I started next. It was the ice skating rink. And I guess I don't have to share too much, but it was like half party, half passion palace, like all these amazing little tiny athletes, not just the young, like ballerina-esque, but the little hockey boys in their little gear, and the fact that I got free ice time. Ice is very expensive, and in Houston there's very few rinks, and I remember when I called, she was like, oh, you called at the perfect time. So, yeah, I started there, and I met a very exciting person who had gotten me in a lot of trouble. The one time I went to a male strip club was because of her. That will never happen again. And, oh... They closed because ice is really hard to maintain. But it was a good experience. When I first started, there was a guy who I feel like he tried to, you can feel things sometimes, and like I am not open to relationships, and this is a reoccurring thing because of my twin flame experience. It's like, wait, I know something bigger. I know I'm cut out for something bigger. So I've been on this weird mission. I cannot believe this video is at 36 minutes. I'm so sorry. But at least I got like dressed up professional for it, right? I went out to dinner tonight, which I haven't done in a long time. Yeah, but so I'm not interested, but it was like this romantic moment where I got to ride on his Zamboni. And yeah, I got to like do the thing where I like sit on the Zamboni and it's cold and just shoo. Love my sound effect there, thank you. So I knew that I had to go back to professional life, and I chose a kids hair salon where I could do princess parties and learn, like the lady who I would be learning from was amazing at little boy like fades and haircuts. So yeah, I did not work there long. Not at all. It was so far from home and it was silly of me. And then this is where things get blurry. So I think that was short. I think shortly after that, my parents, I think, started to separate. After 23 or 26 years, I don't know. I'm on the spot, and numbers are not my forte. But they decided to get a divorce, and I think that I held off getting a job until it was time to like move houses, moving out of my childhood home into inner Houston, where it was close to the holidays, and I knew that being a professional in my current state was like a big job. Everything that it entails to be as professional and confident, like obviously I was very internalized at that time. So I went to get some sales experience because that is the only thing that matters as a professional. Unfortunately, our sales, I'm bitter. And yeah, I worked at Lush Cosmetics, got discounts and stuff, and the holiday season ended, and I can't believe I'm going to mention this, I applied at Drybar, had a weird, interesting experience there where, no, I don't even want to go into it, but it did not work out. The manager was like super hateful. I saw her, she was so embarrassed and ashamed by like other employee girls because it was a grand opening and we had to learn how to do skits, like a little skit on each product, and I'm just not even gonna tell the story except for that she had her head in her hands. So then my mom tells me she's been going to this automated spa called Planet Beach where they do like what do you call them? Like body treatments that are not mechanical. What am I trying to say? Like they have something called a hydration machine and like automated spa treatments. And again, all about sales where like you're trying to sell memberships there. They also had like infrared sauna, a tanning bed. They had like cool beds for like relaxation. You would have a membership and you could do like 3 a night, so it'd be like scheduling whichever 3 services a person wanted to come into, but trying to upsell memberships and whatnot was the bulk of that job. And at the time they were switching managers and a younger girl came in, and that was the first time I really heard about aesthetics. Excuse me. Her name was Sydney. And she was like absolutely adamant, certain, you need to get your esthetician license. She's like, I blah, blah, blah. It didn't mean anything to me until a year later. No, years later. Years later. Are you bored yet? I'm sorry. So, miserable there, per usual. And I went to work in a pet store. A doggy daycare. There was a pet store next door though. And around this time, right before I moved to Houston, I got Bubbles. And my plan was for her to get me out of the house. So I did that. She won her very first Halloween costume party when she was 1 year old. And I became friends with, not like outside of work friends, but I would go to the shop and I really got along well with these people in a fancy pet food store because I used to feed my dog only the good stuff. Not so much anymore. Okay, I'm coming up to modern time here pretty soon, I promise. I hope. And the latter part of my experience will not be so in-depth, I don't think. It'll just more so, like, this is like formative years. So embarrassing. Okay, so the doggy daycare did not work out. I wasn't there but maybe a couple months, and it was like nights were required. I also, like, my dog owns me. I mean, let's be honest. So, I quit. And was like, okay, I've got to go back to career, I've got to make money and be a professional now. I'm getting older, obviously. And I applied at European Wax Center. This was a really great experience because of the owner at the time. She loved me. I was not there very long, but I was there through their company Christmas party. And it is a compliment when somebody wants to set you up with their sibling, their loved one, their kid, which she did do. We went to a very hole-in-the-wall, we went several different places, but it was a great experience. So one of my most proud moments was getting so sick that she threw me in a cab, sent me back to Pasadena because I guess I moved out of inner Houston and I found this little garage apartment, and it was kind of close to where my dad lived, but I wanted to live on my own. And if I was going to have a professional salary, I guess I could afford $250 a month, but it was terrible. Like, there was no air conditioner. The backyard was big. It had a trampoline. Me and Bubbles did a whole lot of bouncing. I was closer to my family, but I found myself hanging out at my dad's house more. And but so I forgot that my car was valet parked and got sent back in an Uber. And then the next morning I'm without my phone, without my keys, and I'm just in this little hole in the wall, yeah, really proud. And then I'm peeking out the window and I keep seeing a car drive by, and it's my grandparents. And I don't know, good times. So then let's see, where am I at? Oh god, I got lost there. European Wax Center. I'm there for so they do weekly check-ins on your numbers, on how you're selling. This location did. And I'm struggling. I did really well in my interview because knowing the script was like the main priority. Like you have to know the steps to gorgeous, the 10 steps to gorgeous or some shit like that. But I was obviously not keeping up. And then honestly, I was like, wait, hold on. I've got something going on. I think I'm going to go focus on my health for a little while. I'm going to, get rid of this nasty little apartment, move in with my dad, and try and get my life together while I can. So I move in with my dad, decide to have the brain tumor surgically removed. Obviously, years have gone by, and since moving to Colorado, everything from there up until, and yeah, like that, it's gone. So please don't bark, please. And then this is when I meet my ex, who I had a house with, and I'm gonna try not to be bitter, resentful. I learned lessons out of it. Honestly, very important lessons, especially about animal rescues. It's funny. So we met at the dog park. I gotta be careful with that word. And I wasn't interested in him. I guess this is like TMI, but he was very, very nice, and our dogs were obsessed with each other. They literally wouldn't play with anybody but each other, and this is all I did at this time, was every day go to the PARK. And yeah, I mean, he asked me out many, many times, and I just, like I said, I have this higher thing, this higher thing that I'm just like, I don't want to bring you into my world. I'm about to get my brain tumor removed. And he insisted. He wanted to be there for me. I let him. I wasn't just like, all right, I'll date you. It was like, all right, well, what do you, tonight? Like, you want to go do something? Chili's? Are you kidding me? Okay, let's go to Chili's. And we basically just never stopped hanging out. And then it was time. His mom was going to move, and he didn't have anywhere to go. And then I knew I needed to get out of my dad's house. And so we got an apartment together. And then our apartment flooded. And that was perfect because we had very quickly learned that it wasn't enough space. And it was kind of like in a weird part of town. At this time, I was working. Okay, wait. So after my surgery, I went and started working for the daycare that I worked for when I was in high school. It's an after school program, and yeah, that didn't last long. Just maybe a few months before it was like, okay, I guess I've got to, I'm going to move out. I need to go back to work. And I started working at the Pretty Kitty, where I learned how to wax with soft wax. And I really liked that job. It was commission only. I somehow made enough money. I was very busy. And at that time, so we flooded, decided we were moving back to Deer Park. We moved in with my dad while we were looking for a house. And I don't know how we had 3 dogs, 2 cats in my dad's house, but, and living in one room, but we did. And then looked at a few houses. The house I found was on my dad's street. So I'm like, perfect. This is a chance for me and my dad to, get closer, and it was perfect. It was the house. It was like the yes. Let's hurry up. We'd already put an offer in on a couple, but it had a big backyard, and really dogs were our thing at that time. Unfortunately, we did get a dog together, and then when we got the house, we got another dog. So we had a total of 4 dogs. 4 large dogs, Great Dane, 2 Black Labs, and a German Shepherd. I don't even want to say anything. So, I, living in Deer Park, decided I needed a career. I needed to really, I'm working at these little wax places, and so I wanted to work at the house the old Victorian house on the corner. It was a spa. It was a spa that had been there for a very long time. And I interviewed because I am licensed, but she told me that she, would prefer only hiring estheticians because cosmetology is more focused on hair. I understand. I have high standards. I'm a perfectionist too. And I went back to school. Not while I was at the Pretty Kitty. They told me no, that I would have to open and close the shop working 10 hours a day or it wasn't gonna work. So I'm like, okay, it's not gonna work. So I go back to European Wax Center. And this is a pretty current time. I still have pictures from this era in my phone. I worked full-time. I went to school full-time. The year was perfect. The year that I chose to go back to school was perfect. I ended up I got to go to school for free because of the year that I was off before for the surgery. And so I got my second license completely for free, and I got financial aid. And I'm so thankful. But that was my first time I've ever worked full-time and gone to school full-time. So before school even finished, I got that job at the old Victorian house, and it was great. I'm really thankful for the very first spa job I ever had. It was very high end, and the very original owner, trained me herself, and some unique experiences there. And I think one day I'll probably outline more specifically. Like, I'd love for this video to be under an hour, but people either hated her or loved her, they said. So she was like, this is the kind of learner I am. I was learning facial techniques, and they're out in front of me, and she would like grab and move, be like, no, do here. I'm like, oh, okay, like, fine, like, I don't care. But I could see where people would not like that, but I don't mind. So I'm at, I got what I wanted. I'm doing good, but yet no. So we were in the house for like 2.5 years, and then it was just time to like reach further. I don't want to say anything bad about him, and I don't think that there's any way that he could have been blindsided by it, but there was no option. It was like, all right, we have done what we were supposed to, and it was over. And it wasn't easy on him, but he wasn't happy either. Like, in his job, he has to be happier now. He has to be happier now, obviously. So, yeah. That was when I moved to where I'm currently at. When I moved from like chemical plant city up to spring, where there's big trees, and I'm with mom. Ooh, I'm getting blurry. Whoops. I guess I need to stay focused. I've said a lot. So now we're in current modern time, and I got really excited when I searched the area because obviously I let go of the spiritual parts of myself, and it was non-negotiable. Like, I need that part of me back. So I start looking around the area and see right across the street that there's little Old Town Spring, and I start learning some of the history of spring. And Old Town Spring is definitely a place to experience. They do ghost tours, and they have this crazy history. And how much of it is true, we don't know. But what do you call it? I don't know. I can't think right now. I'm almost done with this. I'm like racing the clock. So I Google an area. I know I want to work in a spiritual atmosphere. So I interview. I apply at one place, don't hear anything back, and then there's a bunch of different little crystal shops, honestly. And it is increasing in, people are increasing their interest right now. And I ended up interviewing with one of the weirder shops first. They have like Renaissance clothing, and he was totally on board with me dressing up in their stuff, and he wanted me to have an alias name. And this is a funny story, kind of. I mean, if I think I'm funny, but I think that's weird. So I was like, okay, call me Jim. And I fully said it Jim, but but I was ready for the clap back, and he was like, "Wah." He's like, what? Like, are you some kind of butch? I mean, offensive. It's just ridiculous. And then I was like, no, like gemstone, like whatever, Gemini. But yeah, no, I didn't go back after that. So he also had me like go like scope out the competition, some weird shit. Then, okay, honestly, I'm almost done. I tried that, and then I realized, gotta go back and make money, gotta go do some spa services. I forgot there was one little extent where I tried working at Amazing Lash, and kind of like Drybar, it's just not worth sharing the experience. But I got the training, and I got out. So I'm fresh off training, and I apply at a spa nearby. Bubble, please. It's the ice cream man. I once applied to be an ice cream girl and drive an ice cream truck. Whenever I, like right after I got oh. Bubble! It was right after I got fired in Colorado, and I was looking for like odd jobs. I wanted to be the ice cream lady. So I started working at this spa, and they do waxing, spray tanning, eyelash extensions, lash lifts, and that's where I learned how to do all of that and got a lot of good experience doing extensions. So I'm proficient in all of those things now. Well, so I'm at wit's end. I'm like crying. Like, I hate these atmospheres where it's just about squeezing in people, and it's the same conversations. I mean, I've had probably over thousands, like 1,000 plus clients at least. I mean, I don't know how to count that, how to put a number on that. And it's the same thing everywhere, and I kind of started having an anxiety attack, and it's like, I have to figure. So I applied. I'm just always looking for jobs, honestly. So it was easy for me to apply, apply to the crystal shop that I ended up working in for almost 2 years with the facials. But I do want to throw in that I do like working. It is fully just about the atmosphere. So it was around Halloween time, and I found this Halloween shop very nearby that's like so legit. They also have like tons of really cool costumes, like corsets, like serious costumes, like kind of like the Renaissance garb too. But yeah, it's a giant costume store. So I went in like the day before Halloween and was like, hey, do you guys need any help? And wanted to get my foot in the door and try and get a job there. But I realized like they only have like 3 people on staff, and they're like their main employees. And I haven't been back since, but I thought about it, but this is where I'm currently at. Well, I'm almost here, but it's like, if I'm going to work full time, then I need to, well, if I'm going to work, it has to be worth my money. Like $8 an hour really is not going to do anything. I'm going to spend my entire day there and come back with literally enough to buy a sandwich. It doesn't make any sense. So almost to current time. If I can do it in the next 40 seconds, I'll be happy. So, yeah, I go to work in the crystal shop and had no intention except for being a sales associate. And then, yeah, I saw dollar signs. He saw dollar signs when he saw me, and it was only a matter of minutes, like a month or two, and they were like, well, we're looking for a new shop. And when I went in this shop, their store was probably the size of this room. It was tiny. And I just wanted to be around people who were interested in the same things I was at this point. But very quickly, I was given so much more. This shop actually does Reiki certifications. They also, the owner is a crystal healer. She, I ended up in a good place. Akashic record readings. I really came into my being here. And I'm so thankful, because at the same time, I never gave up my professionalism. And that was one thing that I never let go of. Like, I've always tried to keep it intact. So it really is amazing and a blessing. But I don't even know where that but's going. But yeah, no, it was up to me to kind of cultivate this department, the aesthetic department, before I really felt ready. And because I was focusing on myself, and at the same time I was learning Reiki, and I was learning crystal healing, and I was being bullied and like all sorts of weird shit. And they wanted to pretend like I, because I don't like to talk about myself and like that I'm not problematic, that everything was, I don't know. Am I salty? Well, so let's see. I quit, and this is where I've been off of work for the last 2 months. Well, yesterday I was I'm out of money, and I went back to, I got another spa job doing waxing, and I realized that at this point, there's nothing for me to learn, and I have to continue learning right now, 100%. And, yeah, so I decided, actually, this is not going to work, and today I would have been working. It's Saturday, and here I am instead, and this is so much better, because I'm about to go live. I mean, and I have no intention for whatever's next, but I definitely have shown tenacity in myself. I don't know. I'm just popping along, but things are good. And I did reach out to, I hope I didn't jump the gun, but I haven't heard back yet, so that's good. So yesterday I messaged the owners and said I'd like to meet. I'm not even sure if they'll be interested in what I want, but it seemed like they would be, because I was a team player at their shop. I really, really was, and I was appreciated for it. It wasn't all bad. It wasn't. But me coming in now would be agreeing to completely taking on the aesthetic department, and that's the thing, it's so out of control around there that it's gonna be a big project, and I don't know if that's really what I want to do, unless it's 4 hours a day. So I want to work 11 to 3 every day. We'll see how they like that. We'll see, because this is my priority. I think that it makes so much more sense to offer free help, and that's the thing, not capitalizing on people like I've witnessed being done. Like, I cannot imagine having had the help that I needed in any kind of like spiritual support whatsoever. I just want to be available because I have a good perspective, but I'm still developing it, and it's interesting. It's exciting. So I think that's it. I think that I have nothing else to say. I'm accomplished in my own mind, and now I'm like trying to change physically. That's a note that I wrote. Disassociation from my physical life is very much a part of my testimony. So all of that time, everything was internalized. Now there is a shift happening where I want to work outside of me. I want to work with other people. I don't need any more work in myself for right now. I mean, now it's maintenance, and really I've got so many things to study, and at the same time, I don't even want this. I don't even want this to be a career. Like this, like my hobbies still come first. My passion, my soul, I would much rather be learning French, taking time in the morning to relax and set up my study material, Playing instruments, learning music. I have a huge binder here on my skincare stuff. I have a huge binder here. I've got crystal healing. One thing I do want to get into is soul realignment. So these things I'm going to make videos on each individual after this, kind of in this same style. But I wanted to outline my Texas cosmetology experience more than anything. But the thing is, it's not as simple as just my working experience, because you have to see, hear, recognize that it's been in and out, in and out. It's not just been a consistent 10 years. What is consistent that way? I've tried a lot of different things, and in the end, the ball is in my court. I left the crystal shop because of power games. Like, no, I know my worth. I'm not going to watch you take advantage of people. Like, I don't stand for this. I was a cash cow in a way, and the door is still open for me to go back, so I need to be careful about what I say. But they hired a healer who was awful. She was a terrible person, and I was just hearing the advice she would give people, but then she would turn around and like talk about them behind their back. I'm telling you, this is why I'm like, you need to be careful of who you choose to receive energy healing from. And even me acknowledging that is me taking a step down, but it's to help people. Because, I'm thankful for that experience, facing her and like learning how to put up with that. Is that going to be my my final note? And it's not even just her, it's the same thing in the beauty profession. The same way that people don't, everything is an upsell, and I get it, because we're all in this game of survival, but I've been trying to keep my heart alive, my passion. Oh, I forgot, there was a time that I took a break and came back and chose to work like in a flower shop. That was another fun job I had. I guess that's actually, and I just looked it up. I was going to say that's a good place to end, but I did just find out that they are a tea room now. I think that's cool, because I was delivering flowers and it was kind of a silly situation over there too, but everything's a little bit silly. I know that I'm still at a 0 point, but that's exactly why I just want to put my experience so that there's no question. Like, you really know a lot more about me now, and it's a lot to share, like so much about yourself, but by no means is that even close to everything. I think when I was growing up, I used to worry about like, I'm not going to have anything to talk about. I always can find things to talk about. It's the comfort of not talking that is more valuable, finding comfort in not talking. And that is why I'm going to live stream, because there doesn't have to be a plan. And I'm not here to teach, but I think holding that space and organically letting my perspective develop outside of me, working with other people. And you might not like the advice that I give, because I don't like labels. I don't want to talk about relationships, and I do have a disclaimer that says that, specific questions, things about other people. I have a very energetic perspective. I think it's important to look at everything as, okay, no, I'm not here to teach anything. We'll see. Only certain things will inspire certain responses. But stop the self-importance. Is that a good note to go out on? Okay, so I've said a lot. I can't believe I'm still considering going live now that I am tired. I was not focused on pulling. I thought I was gonna pull cards throughout that entire thing and be happy and glorified, but no, it was still fun, I suppose. I want to talk for one more minute. I'm going to try and cut it at 1:11 because those are the only numbers I like. No, I mean, I guess if we're talking about 11s, which a lot of people associate to the twin flame journey, I associate it to high energy, reoccurring, like just forward ascension, basically. And that is all I'm here for. And I mean, not all. And that's the thing. There's so much to come still. I have never been in a healthy relationship that is like about give and take. Well, I don't know. It's not even give and take. I've never been in a healthy relationship that's like fun, and that's all I'm gonna have next. So I am inviting everybody on my journey with me, and I appreciate if you listened to this. I can't just cut it off right in the middle of a sentence. I'm extremely silly, and I would love to share and have people to share with in time until the next video, which will probably be, will it be skincare? Will it be the face reality line, crystal healing, or the Akashic record readings? Probably the Akashic record readings, because those are going to be, if I had time, those would be what I choose to study and learn. I would like to practice those, but maybe if I have other people to do it for, because I'm not doing it for myself. Like, I don't care about analyzing what's going on with me, and I don't want people to worry about what's going on with them, because it works out exactly how it's supposed to. There it is. Alright. Thank you for watching. If you watched all of this, I cannot believe it's going to take an hour to upload, but I guess I'm going to go live, and I was going to go live on Twitch. Maybe I'll do that first now, because I'm like, I don't want to talk anymore. Alright. Next time.